Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As you probably know, the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, delivered another speech in which he discussed the global situation, military, economic situation, political situation, and the war in Ukraine as well. He underlined certain kind of concerns, certain kind of procedures, and steps Russia will take in case things escalate in a certain direction or other direction. Now, the media, the free people, the good people, interpreted Vladimir Putin's speech in a certain way. The bad media, the other side, interpreted it in a different way. The best way to see what's going on is to listen to the guy, whatever he said. But in order to do that, you have to have, and I hope you do, the minimum knowledge and the chronology of events. If you know the issue, outside not only of what happened yesterday and the day before, then you could analyze if this guy is pulling your leg or not. The problem here, I think, and I'm going to discuss in this video, is the so-called, by the free world, by the good people, so-called threats that Putin made towards the West, nuclear threats. So he's a global threat. And unfortunate to say is that these guys here, the good people, argue at a third grader level. So whenever they say something, I have to go so far back in time and define terms in order to make my point. That's unbelievable. It's like arguing with a, as I said, third grader, and you discuss global warming, let's say, and you have to explain to the child how the weather is, why is it raining, what the glaciers are, and all that. So you have to go back and build a whole foundation of information at the end to go to what the hell these guys are saying is the global warming. So the same thing with these guys. They argue, they say such things that if I just come and say, well, that's not true, is obviously not going to be enough. So I have to make my point, but going to make my point, I have to go with the chronology of events each and every time and bring everything back from Adam and Eve. And it's tiring, but probably that's one of the goals of these guys, to get you tired or to shut you up by calling you names. These are the easiest way to get rid of you. So I have here articles from the good people and from the bad people. Remember, the good people assigned themselves as being the good people, and also the good people assigned the bad people term and label to who the bad people are. The bad people cannot say who is good and who is bad. Only they can. Why? Because they're good. All right, again, I have to go to China to explain what's going on, and I will not go. China means in Romanian meaning like go far away and come back. And I'm not going to go and do this. I read a few articles from the good people and 3 articles from the bad people regarding Putin's speech and his threats towards the West. Now, these threats are, I think, in 3 parts. One, the Russians temporarily suspended their activity in START treaty. That means the United States and Russia agreed, I think it was Medvedev and Obama in 2010, I think, they agreed to check each other's weapons stocks and have access to check and reduce their nuclear stockpile to about 1,000 nuclear warheads. And Putin said, well, you know what, we are not going to do that. We're not going to do it anymore. And he argues why. This guy said, no, he just does that because that's a threat. He wants to arm himself. Well, they don't tell you the argument. I will discuss that. That's the first one. The second one is, oh my God, Putin, just activated a nuclear defense operation system, something. What's that all about? Why did he do that? And obviously the third one is the fact that Putin said, you know what, if you guys threaten our existence, our protocol states that we have to do this. So it's like, for instance, if someone gets in an argument with me and things escalate, I usually say this, well, just so you know, if you attack me physically, if I have time, if you attack me physically, I will retaliate, I will knock you out, if I can. So I'm telling that person, I'm not threatening that person, I'm telling you, this is my next step according to your actions. So your actions will dictate my reaction. So Putin says, well, if you guys do this, this is what we're gonna do. That's a threat. He threatens with nuclear weapons. Okay, let's go to the first article here coming from the Good People's media. And obviously this is Reuters. Russia's Putin issues new nuclear warning to West over Ukraine. Okay, so here is Russia suspends participation in New START nuclear arms treaty. Suspends temporarily, he said, and I'm going to read you what he said and what this guy is saying. Putin puts new strategic nuclear weapons on combat duty. All right, why is that? And then he says, Putin says Russia will resume nuclear test if US does. So this is, if you attack me, I'm going to punch you back in the face. Here, well, if we consider ourselves and our existence threatened, we will react. Here, it's useless to participate in this, and he's going to say why. All right, let's see what this guy is saying. President Putin delivered on Tuesday a warning to the West over Ukraine by suspending a landmark nuclear arms control treaty, announcing that new strategic systems have been put in combat duty and threatening to resume nuclear tests. Now, all this is a very toddler-like interpretation. He suspended his participation temporarily, he said. Secondly, and I'm going to tell you why, announced a new strategic system has been put on combat duty, ready to react, because Russia doesn't have a first strike doctrine, unlike the United States of America. And this, again, they suspended this one because Russia says, well, this is between Russia and the United States of America. But we have also France, we have Great Britain, they have nuclear power, they have nuclear weapons. So they also should have this non-proliferation and, limiting arms, control treaty. They have to participate in it. So we have to discuss another one. And the other one, and threatened to resume nuclear test. Yes, said, we resume if, only if United States starts this. And this is what he says. The elite of the West do not hide their purpose, according to this guy. But they also cannot fail to realize that it's impossible to defeat Russia on the battlefield, he told his country's political and military elite. You know, these guys say, we're going to win, Ukraine will win. And he says, you can't, because we have nuclear weapons, and it's kind of hard to win against a country with nuclear weapons, basically. So stop even trying to continue their thing. Now, these guys obviously say that, Secretary of State said that Putin's move is unfortunate and irresponsible. And this is what Putin said, I'm quoting, if the United States conduct tests, then we will do. Got that? No one should have dangerous illusions that global strategic parity cannot be destroyed. And he said, a week ago, I signed a decree on putting new ground-based strategic systems on combat duty. It was not immediately clear which system he meant, but nevertheless, they say that's a threat. Okay. Now, this is the argument that Putin makes about getting out of that treaty. Putin said Ukraine has sought to strike a facility deep inside Russia where it keeps nuclear bombers, a reference to the Eagles Air Base. I'm not going to go to that, I'm going to go right here. Putin accuses NATO of direct involvement in attacks on Russia. And he says, we know that the West was directly involved in the attempts by the Kiev regime to strike the bases that house our strategic aircraft. The drones used in the raids were equipped and upgraded with help from NATO experts. All right, so if you remember, now I have to go again to Adam and Eve. On December 5, they attacked, Eagles military airfields, 500 kilometers inside Russia, and so on. So that's one thing. Then it says here, Russia suspends only remaining major nuclear treaty with Russia. They said, no, we're not going to participate. We're not going to do anything with these guys, but we're not going to allow the Americans to inspect our stockpiles and military bases. And this is his argument. You guys helped our enemy to shoot inside our country with your information, with your logistics, your experts, and you want us to let you come and inspect our defensive capability? No. So he said, no, you will not have access to our bases anymore because you helped those guys. So everything that you find, you told those guys and you're going to tell them. Actually, you're not going to tell them. Actually, you're going to be the one probably organizing the whole thing. So that's his argument for suspending their activity in this. There's no threat about, oh, we're going to hit you, you know what? And the most important threat, I would say, if you want to call it threat, is this. He said this, they, and I'm quoting Putin, this comes from Russia Today, they intend, maybe I can put this up, how about that? They intend to turn a local conflict into a phase of global confrontation. Now listen, this is how we understand things, and we will react accordingly. All right? Because the issue here is the existence of our state. Okay, so you know what does that mean? That means the Russian nuclear doctrine says that we will use nuclear weapons in case of our existence, state, and existence, and will be threatened, and that's one of them. So basically, he said, you guys try to turn a local conflict into a phase of global confrontation. Remember, they were talking about this is World War. China wants to get in. There's going to be a war. Blah, 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 blah. Well, if this is going to happen, Russia will feel threatened, and then they could activate their nuclear deterrent protocol. So this is the big threat, and I think that's the only direct threat that the Russia Russia, it's veiled, because it said, well, if your elites, you, the good people, intend to expand and enlarge this local conflict and make it a world conflict, which is already you guys, the good people, against us, the one bad person over here. It's always, the courage always runs in packs, and coward people are always acting alone. When you're jumped by 20 people, it's because they are strong. That's the logic. So he said, if you guys expand it, we feel an existential threat. That means we will take the according steps. We will react accordingly, which means if you know something about it and you know the doctrine, the 4 points, you say, they're going to use nuclear weapons. Now that's the threat. As I said, if you come closer and you attack me physically, I'm going to knock you out. Oh, Emil threatened me. Yes, if in the circumstance that you come and attack me and you threaten me, my physical well-being. So, as I said, it's so much to talk about this, so much. I have articles where, and I will make another video about this, where you have expert correspondents of various good people's newspapers talking pointed. This is what you should understand out of evil Putin's speech, and they got like 4 or 5, usually 5 bullets. That's what they take, and they discuss it, and they say Putin said this, but he's lying, and then they give you an argument of a 3rd grader, and it's not only a lie, it's really, you're like, how can you be an expert, a White House expert, or a correspondent of a major news outlet, and think like this? Really. And as I said, it would take hours for me to just unpack that bullshit. And I will try to take it subject by subject. This video was on the subject of the nuclear threats, which I think are like that. You do this, if this escalates to this, we have to take the exact steps that it's in our doctrine. Sorry, not sorry, I think. So, I urge you, or I suggest that you listen to the guy, and with your ability to understand things, and I have, how should I say it? I trust your level of understanding, obviously, because you're here with me, and that means we're interested in finding the truth. That's what I am, at least, and exposing the other side of these weasels, or the other weasels. you're going to be able to understand when you read the good people's articles how much they are BSing. Not that the other ones are not, but in this case, third grader level. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.